On our ALLchemy call, somebody asked, how do you stay sustainably connected in a super conscious fashion all the time? And that led to a fascinating conversation, which I am going to title Redesigning Human. And it's part of the quantum evolution section that we're going to work on in the ALLchemy series next week that we're doing. So here's the thing. So part of this, I'm going to explain a little bit about what's been happening with the quantum evolution of us all. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how you stay sustainably in that space. Okay. Oh, and how you make it a permanent thing if you want to make it a permanent thing. Okay, so over the past 25, maybe more years, we have been quantum evolving ourselves and literally redesigning how we occur as beings on this gorgeous planet. So for me, it meant redesigning human. Now, being on Earth is a wonderful thing. Being in a physical body, I absolutely love. I think life is just amazing here. And this is just the most beautiful, 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 Edenic place ever. That's my view of it. So I love it here. So, but what I find is that when I refer to myself as a human being, that the consciousness that's built up in that, as to what that means, comes in and captures us. So what would that look like if you tried to say, well, what is it about human beings? They're individual. They don't have to be, but they pretty much all are, except for some exceptions of very highly energetically aware and sensitive people who get it. They get the connective nature of life in the universe. So, but mostly human consciousness assumes that we're individual. It assumes, if you look at the education systems mostly around the world, it assumes that logical brain functioning and memorization and step-by-step logical processes are the way to go, that's the primary way to achieve success and be on the planet, to be a human being, to be a successful human being. You want to use your mind, your brain intelligence. You want to, go through the logical process and think with your mind. Okay, but then there's all of us who've been exploring, some through their whole lives and some of us in the last 25, 30, 35 years, the invisible facets of what it is to be us alive on planet Earth, with connected to infinite intelligence, with working with universal life source energy, source power, life power, the forces and power of the universe, the force itself moving through us. And we've been learning how to operate newly and differently in our physical presence on Earth. And without that kind of constrictive consciousness of what it is to be a human being. So a lot of people would say, okay, human being, individual, works with their logical brain, their intelligence, tries to open their heart. Some do that very well, others don't do it very well for various reasons, etc., etc. And that's and that we're a very emotional. The human consciousness would describe it as a very emotional species, that we react quickly. Okay, so in the redesign, none of that applies. We are a super connected, super collective species with all life. Hence why I renamed us Earthians. We are a living embodiment of source, of the universe, of the infinite. We can flow that. We can be in expanded consciousness. Our intelligence is not just our brain intelligence. Our intelligence is the infinite intelligence of the universal, flow, the quantum field possibilities, that all of that. And that we operate as expansive, energetic beings in a super conscious way, using spontaneous inner mastery, spontaneous mastery, and universal mastery. And so, to call myself a human doesn't fit for me anymore. So I named us Earthians, which this image back here on the wall represents. A friend of mine did that image. But I also don't just call myself an Earthian, and leave it at that. I am an infinite Earthian. Now, you can call yourself anything at all. If you like human as a term for yourself, then you use that. But be careful when you use that you're not being caught by how it is to be a human, or how it's supposed to be a human in the world. You design your own presence and being in the world. And if you want to put new terms to that, hallelujah. Some people would call themselves a universal being, or a divine being, or an infinite being, etc., etc. There's so many ways in which you could describe it. But for me, I am an infinite Earthian. So another part of the quantum evolution of us that includes super connected, super conscious, super expansive, etc. I am now emotive versus emotional. I don't have reactions anymore. Instead, I have emotive. I take joy in all the emotions, and I use them for emotive quantum bursts. And I do that consciously, super consciously, and in the quantum field to activate greater things for all life. So there's a real shift in how we orient to emotions. And then there's the embodiment of source. So you could say you're a source being. Are you a human, or are you a source being? Do you see the difference? Can you feel the difference? If I say to you, okay, so there you are now, be your human self. And you'll feel it will, yeah, you can have joy in it. But for me, when I say be my human self, it kind of goes, it's like that. It's okay. But if I say become an infinite Earthian, which is my term for me, or become a source being, or an infinite being, or universal being, whatever you want, whatever lights you up, okay, use whatever term, and you feel it, the flow starts, the energy starts, the smile comes on your face, you elevate into a completely different level. You and the quantum matrix of reality are like pals, buddies, friends. You're embedded right in it, and you're sourcing that reality all the time. Whereas humans mostly think that life happens to them and they don't have much control over it. Whereas as infinite Earthians, or quantum source beings, see, you could make up any term you want for it, we are activators and actualizers of the new possibilities of a new version of reality of us. So we are redesigning ourselves from the ground up as human beings, as beings who dwell on planet Earth. And so you do that in any way that works for you. But I like to give new terms for it because it gives me freedom of thinking and expansion, and etc., etc. Okay, so that's a kind of quick overview of the redesign of human into something new and exciting and exhilarating. So let me now talk about things that I have done that has allowed me to go to this state permanently 100%. I don't drop anymore in vibration. I don't get upset. If I feel a grr coming, which of course we might all do, for me that's like, oh, here comes the power. Okay, what's it want? What's it for? And I don't even have to stop and think of the questions anymore. It's just like, here comes the energy, here comes the power. Use it for good. That's what I do. So I don't get lost in the upset and the distress and the, all that stuff. It just goes right through me. Okay, so how did I get there? Well, I started probably by working with emotion as potential rising. That was back in the early 2000s, maybe even late 1990s. And then I realized that our emotion is the power and energy to activate the quantum field of possibility. Began to use the emotive state. I began to realize that I didn't have to seek perspectives. I used to look at like 5 paradigms of perspective. So when you're looking at something, are you looking at it from closed, from open, from creative, from spiritual, from vast, expansive, wild, open, new? And so I just became the last one, the wild, expansive, wild, open me, the source me, I made that choice. Now, I did also work on raising my vibration sustainably so it could hold at that level on a permanent basis. And one of the things that Santari and I did, this was back in 2017. We were living in Spain for a little while, and we had an apartment that overlooked the water. We got 180 degrees of view of sunrise to sunset on the Mediterranean. It was just spectacular. And there was a point where for 2 weeks we lived in a particular apartment where you were just like breathtaking all the time by these incredible views, by the waves, by the majesty of the earth and the water and the oceans. And it was just spectacular. And after that 2 weeks, it became much easier for me because I put myself almost in the thrall of high vibrational, ecstatic, breathtaking love of life. So that's one of the ways I raise my vibration. Centauri and I line up every morning as well to raise our vibrational frequencies, which really helps. There's all kinds of ways you could do this. Do I meditate? No, I don't. I like movement. I find meditation's too still for me. So what I like to do is get with groups of people and do big energy work. That's what I love to do. Or have anything, whether I'm watching TV and something calls me, I love to do big energy work, big consciousness, innovation work for the world. As soon as I do that, I'm soaring, I'm flying. So, these are some of the things: vibration, being with your emotions differently, seeing life from a different place, living as an embodied source of all the reality of the world turning out. That's a big one. So most people would think that sounds like a big heavy weight you'd have to carry around, like you'd have to be careful all the time. No, no, no. It's joyful, actually. Oh my gosh, I am the source of a brand new version of reality in which people are super connected, super conscious, loving earth, loving nature, loving animals, et cetera, infinite intelligence, we can know things, et cetera. And when you become the source of that, it is delightfully delicious. Now, it's interesting because as soon as I got to that state where I am an embodied source, creator, source of life on planet Earth, and how it's all turning out and quantum evolving, then what happened for me is that nothing happens anymore that disturbs me. I know that'll sound strange, perhaps to some people, like, doesn't everybody have stuff happen to? Maybe humans do, but infinite Earthians don't seem to. Centauri and I we just don't have stuff happen. Like, well, let me paraphrase on that. A year and a half ago, Centauri had a heart attack and went into the hospital to have a triple bypass operation. And, even through that, neither one of us really dropped. He got annoyed about how he was treated in the hospital and stuff, and he didn't like what he was going through, but he was so amazing. And me, I was like, and he said to me before he got in the ambulance, I'm okay if I go. I said, okay, honey, I get that. It's all right. And then I just went into the big work, called my Maestro buddies, went into the big work of it. If he was meant to stay, he would. If he wasn't, he wouldn't. And I knew I wouldn't. I would have some tears. I would miss him. but I wouldn't live in grief. I knew that. I knew it because it's how I am in the world. It's what I believe in. It's how I operate. And, thank goodness he's still alive. And a year and a half later, he's like healthier than he's ever been. Amazing. Got through all kinds of things in that year and a half and had huge purpose for us both. And what we got that he was doing at the time is he was bringing in the new quantumly evolved source body for us all. That's exciting. No, I don't want to ever have to go to the hospital to do that. I'd rather just do it. But that was a big one and a tough one. And I believe that he went through that process to do something for us all, which was amazing. And when you live in greater purpose attached to everything and a love of life and a super connected, super conscious state of being running infinite intelligence, you don't have to drop. You don't have to be upset. You don't have to be distressed. You've got the world turning out, and you know that you and others and all of those that are doing it together, including whales and bees and trees and, mycelium and oceans and all of that, that we're doing incredible things together. And we're all source beings, and we're all quantum evolving in our intelligence, in our capacities, in our mastery, in our ability to source this world, including the earth itself, herself, however you want to refer to that. So there you go. So if you want to just have a feel of that, okay, so just take a deep breath. Think of something you love. Let it elevate you. And then wild open. Take a deep breath. Feel yourself as a source being, the universe moving through you to bring the thriving of all life onto this world and into this universe, that you are a maestro extraordinaire, that you are connected to the infinite and the intelligence and the knowing of the whole universe and creation and all that's possible, the quantum field, and that you are an evocateur of possibilities and an actualizer of realities. And as you do that, you realize that you suddenly occur in a kind of free-flowing, expansive state with energies just moving through you. It's kind of like that for me, like this, the energies are just flowing through me all the time like that. And then you take a deep breath and the smile comes on your face and the tingles come in your fingers and you feel fantastic and the sun comes out. and you live in this spectacular version of who we can be as a living embodiment of source, universe, infinite, divine, however you want to call it, on this beautiful, beautiful planet. And then from there, we get to work on quantum evolving everything, everyone, all of it, and redesigning ourselves as the most awesome versions of the possibility of living presence on planet Earth that we can muster. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Bye.